And ladies and gentlemen, we're live. Welcome to Podcast the Show. I am your host, Andrew Rabinowitz, here with my co-host, Yuhan. And this is our first prototype crossover epic promo episode. So we're going to start off a quick, we're Podcast the Show. The show is a podcast. BTV's one and only podcast that's also a show. We're joined by two of the wonderful directors for Binghamton's TEDx event happening Sunday, March 3rd. Please welcome. Why don't you guys tell the camera who you are, what you're doing.
So my name is Emma Krempa. I'm a junior, and this is my second year being a director for TEDx.
I'm Madison Klumpin-Mella. I'm a sophomore, and this is my first year with TEDx.
Awesome. So why don't you guys start by telling me a little bit how'd you get involved with TEDx? I don't know, Maddie, why don't you start?
So last year as a freshman, I was a volunteer for TEDx, and I just really enjoyed it a lot, and actually being a part of the event and seeing like the behind the scenes and getting to see the speakers, it just kind of made it all come together, and it made it feel like really real to be a part of something like that. And I was like, I might as well try and be a director, so I applied for it and I got the position.
Awesome. I mean, Emma, I know we've had our experience last year with TEDx,
Yeah.
but you want to go into it anyway.
So I guess my freshman year, I was undecided for my major, and my parents were really pressuring me to get an internship, and I didn't know what to intern in if I didn't have a major. So I saw TEDx and I was like, oh, this is great because TED Talks can be about essentially anything, and I thought that I could somehow manage to fit it in one day if I ever needed to talk about it during an interview. But I guess what made me come back again for this second year was the fact that I ended up enjoying it so tremendously, and especially the day of the event too, just ended up being so cool that I knew I wanted to come back.
100%, totally crazy. Now, I think the big question everybody's wondering, who is Ted?
Well, TED is not a person. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions, I guess.
Exactly.
TED stands for Technology, Education, and Design, which is, I guess, a little bit less exciting than who TED might actually be. But if you want to.
That's it, I guess. Since we're TEDx, X just means like we're independently organized, like separate from TED, like the main corporation, but we are like a little branch.
It's going to be a more extreme event.
Exactly.
With rollerblades. You heard it now, folks. Rollerblades at TEDx come through.
That someone might be rip sticking onto the stage. As
Really?
a sneak peek, but we'll see how that works out.
Is Andrew?
I mean,
might.
he hasn't asked, but we shall see.
For my intro to the event, for a full clarification, I'll be hosting this year's TEDx event this weekend. Just a little self-promo, not to brag or anything. I don't know. I've been thinking about the intro. I'm working on it. Might come out in the ripstick. I was thinking about Heelys too. I don't know, Yuhan, what do you think about Heelys?
I think Heelys is a great throwback move.
That's what
awesome.
I've been thinking. I thought the Heelys were a good throwback move.
Can you come in backwards or come in forwards and do a spin and then continue going forwards?
Ooh, nah.
And then grab the mic stand and then bring it down and then bring it back up.
Oh, some Elvis moves?
That would be
Yeah.
great.
That'd be sick.
The one problem with the Heelys is that the stage that you enter on is going to be about this height, and then there's a significant step downwards towards
But
the
Heelys
stage
you
where you'll
can-
be speaking
you
on.
can
But
walk
you
normal.
can Heely out, hop down, and then
You
continue.
do like a little tiptoe and then start again.
Yeah. So it's going to be a little bit of a move, but I think it could be managed.
Okay. So we'll work on the Heely technology in the first part. I don't think Adidas makes Heelys, but you know what? We'll try it. They make
Skechers do.
Oh, is it a Skechers shoe? I don't think they're an independent company.
I did have Heelys.
You did
I would hold on to the
Yeah.
wagon in BJ's, and my mom would push me around.
That's sick.
Classic. Oh my god. So, all right, getting back to kind of like working up to the event. I know this is like a huge thing. Takes tons of effort, tons of work from all the directors. So what are some of the cool things that you guys did in more like last semester, sort of prep and lots of prep for the event that people might not know about?
So one main thing that I didn't really put into consideration is finding speakers. So the speakers that we all have never done TED Talks before, so it's hard to just like look up someone, because especially if they've done a TED Talk, it's like, oh, okay, that person's gone, and you have to like really, because you want to be able to see that person speak, and usually like a speaking platform is TED, so you want to make sure like they are a good speaker and they like talk really well. So it's really like difficult kind of process to like really like find someone like their story, like what they like stand for, and then actually like have them be like a good speaker. And so that was mainly like over the summer and into last semester we did that. Yeah.
How do you end up knowing that they're a good speaker?
So like the people that I found, I went on like the Google Talks a lot. So they would be sitting down like in like a casual setting, or like in like more of like a lecture kind of setting, and the way that they just spoke and the way that they like acted and like how charismatic they were, like if they weren't very well spoken, if they were like soft spoken, I would be like turned off by that, or if they weren't like a very like interactive with the crowd or like energetic person, I would be like, I don't know if that's like the best person for this kind of event. So just little things like that.
Do you guys get to talk to those people? Like, do you guys like Skype or video chat them before?
Yeah, that was another part too. That's what I was going to say is my favorite part of kind of the semester leading up to it, is that even though they're professionals in their field and, you know, they're the ones doing the research and know what they're talking about, we actually get to give them advice on their talks, which is a little bit weird because we're college students with very minimal knowledge to most of what they're speaking on, but to kind of help them make sure that it fits like the TED guidelines and things like that, and also that it just sounds nice, or that their talk is geared towards the audience of college students, because that's predominantly what it is. So we got to Skype with a lot of them beforehand. So it turns from just like you're emailing this name back and forth to finally you get to see them and interact, and then it's really cool when they actually get here too and you finally get to meet them in person.
It's like teaching like a 40-year-old man like the college lingo.
Yep.
Yo, what's up, guys?
No, you're gonna want to yaw before the yeet.
Yeah.
Really just get it
Yeah.
get it out there. You want to get it from the soul.
Is that how you're opening the event?
So of the speakers that you guys found for this event this weekend, what were some of the ones you found, or maybe ones that you specifically didn't find, but some that you really are excited for?
So I think the two that I'm most excited for are Peter and Kate. And so Kate is someone that we actually found almost by accident. We had reached out to somebody else named Franklin Leonard, and he's the creator of The Blacklist. And we didn't realize, I had kind of put him on the list in my first year. He remained on the list the second year, and we reached out. And in between those two times, he actually did a TED Talk. So he was like, oh, I just did one, but let me point you towards our director of community. She's a blogger, and she's really talented as well, so reach out to her. And she sent us some of her content, and it's really great. I'm also pretty into cinema stuff too, so like personally, I'm really excited for her. And then Peter is our alumni speaker, and he's a photographer.
Oh yeah.
And typically when people do their talks, they don't really have a lot up. If they have a presentation or a PowerPoint, it's supposed to be mainly about the words and ideas and things like that. But for him, what he has to say is going to be obviously heightened a lot by the photos, because that's what he's going to be talking about. So I think he has like 186 slides in the PowerPoint, and typically people have 5 or have like no slides at all. So we were looking through his photos earlier, and they're wicked cool, and I'm very excited to see
Yeah, and
those.
he's not just like, I feel like when you think of an artist or photographer, it's like, what are they going to talk about? But he has incredible life experience. He's been on every single continent. So just like having someone like I said before, like someone with a personality, someone with like experience, it's like, it's exciting to see. And yeah.
Right, especially as a Binghamton alum, and it's great for the university just to represent Public Ivy.
Yeah.
So, those are my two. I don't know if you had people you're looking for.
Well, I've always like had a soft spot for Michelle, because I found her and then I read her book. So like, I don't know, I'm so invested like in her life. She's her name's Michelle Rigby-Assad. She's an ex-CIA agent, and she worked in the Middle East with like counterterrorism. And I just think she's so cool, and I'm just gonna be so nervous to meet her. But yeah, I read her book. It's crazy, some of the things that she talks about, and you don't really realize that that's real life. and that was her life, and I'm just so intimidated and excited to meet her.
Oh, 100%. Totally with you. Yeah, all the speakers this year are really, really cool. I mean, you have Sunil, who with Deep Blue Worlds, his game company. He was a game developer for one of like the first Call of Duty games, and he then moved on to start his own company after his son was born, and he like does cool like educational, like different kinds of products with like VR and mobile. So I think that's the talk that I'm really hyped for this time, because like it hit home. Like I played that first Call of Duty, great game for the PS2. It was PS1 or PS2. I don't remember, but like the first one, I just remember playing it. It was so good, and it's like, all right, let's like also just.
I think he's gonna bring a new perspective from like the video game industry, and I think he will bring like that new perspective to people who play video games and like really get them to think.
Exactly, it's such a huge thing that everyone's like, oh, is it just free time? But it's cool to see that same perspective being applied to something really cool and unique and helpful, and like have an idea that's worth idea worth spreading. TED mission statement.
Yeah.
The more you know. Put some stuff in my hands. Sparkles. So moving on a little bit, just to talk more about some other stuff. I know tabling has been one of the big parts been a big part of the process. I know, Matt, that's how you got your start. That's how I got involved with the TEDx organization. So it could be either from your experience last year or this year. What are some crazy, just like in general, tabling stories that you've had, or just funny things that have happened to you? Because I know it's like just standing around a marketplace holding a flyer, like, come to TEDx. Like it's a lot.
That's, I think, just the biggest thing. So this year all we did was University Day at the mall. So that was like a 4-hour chunk of like interacting with the community. Last year we table at the mall a bit more frequently. And I think it's different, I guess, being there versus being on a college campus where a lot of people don't know what TED is or what TED Talks and things are. So a lot of people start off and they're like, oh, who's TED?
Who is TED?
But I remember there was one conversation that I had where I don't know, I spent like a few minutes explaining what TED Talks were, and then we started talking about something else, and for maybe like 15 minutes, this man was kind of ranting about some like outside issue, and I think after that, I kind of brought it back, and I was like, oh, so are you interested in the event at all? He just started laughing and goes, no, and walked away. But that's, I think sometimes it's like just like a nice outlet for people to have a conversation. But nothing like too crazy has happened. I don't know about any of you guys.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I've had a couple of fun TEDx moments, especially me, like, I know my volunteering last year and this year. I don't know, this year, last week I was tabling, and there was this guy that just like came up to me and said, hey, you guys are liars. And I was like, what? I'm sorry, can I help you? He's like, you said you'd be in Marketplace every day, but now you're in Union. Oh, yeah, I guess we did say that. I'm sorry. I didn't, do you want to buy a ticket? I didn't want to buy a ticket, left immediately, but I was just so stunned. I was like, oh, okay. What do you want me? I'm sorry.
It's hard to get those marketplace spots.
Yeah.
They're so strict about it, so sorry that we couldn't be marketplace every day.
That guy's listening.
Like
if you're listening, I'm sorry. Did my best. But yeah, Yuhan, you got any interesting at all tabling stories you want to throw out there?
I mean, the one time I tabled, we're in Hinman, and one of my boys pulled up, and we're like, you know what, like, you're already here. So I bought him a shirt, it was $2,
Yeah.
right? Which are really cheap, by the way. And we just went upstairs in Hinman, and we just had a great time, We went up to so many groups of people. Some of the reactions were kind of like, get away, I'm eating. And some of the reactions were dope. People were super interested. We went up to this one like international Indian group, and they were like, oh, yeah, it sounds cool, but I don't really understand English that well, so I don't think I'll understand the talks. We're like, no problem. It's all good, man. Like, don't worry. Like, you can still give us your money and we'll give you a great talk. You know, you can look at some photographs and stuff. That'll be dope.
If you want to do sign language, and then I think we'll have we'll have something.
We have interpreters.
We have interpreters coming.
There we go.
We do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm very
It's like
glad.
that one every time I think of an interpreter, I think of like that one interpreter at a rave. Do you remember that? The one sign language
I've
woman at a
actually
rave.
seen that.
She was like pumping her fist and doing sign language at the same time. It was the sickest thing. She went viral. It was
That's
amazing.
really cool.
Just dancing and doing the sign language.
Yeah.
I've seen part of that before.
Can you pull
She was
that
like
up?
on the side and she was
Pull
like
that
doing some Naruto kind of stuff.
So, speaking on on TED Talks in general, I don't know if you guys. I'm a big TED Talk fan overall. So, what's one or two TED Talks? Not specifically Binghamton ones. It's cool if they are, but just ones that one of your personal faves.
I actually watched one today, like earlier this morning, and I forget her name. I can look it up if you want, but she was basically, the talk was called Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
And
I think I might have watched that one.
yeah, it's just like this young woman, actually she's like in her 30s, but she's basically talking about how anything you're going to want to get done, it's going to be uncomfortable to like speak out, because to be that first domino, like that's obviously uncomfortable to talk about things that no one else is talking about, or to like speak up against things that maybe other people are feeling but like no one's really talking about, and it's always going to be uncomfortable, so you might as well get comfortable with speaking your mind. And I thought that was really cool and kind of inspired me to like maybe speak up more about things that I'm passionate about.
Oh, that's a really cool one. Yeah, send me a link to that later. We'll post that in the description for you guys on YouTube. Emma, you wanna?
I think mine is one that I've seen a lot. It's called Everyday Leadership. Is that not the one? What do you
I was
think?
thinking the lollipop one.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's called,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's this guy, Drew Dudley. The talk is called Everyday Leadership, but people refer to it as like the lollipop moment dude. And he spoke about, I think he was on a college campus doing something, and he gave a lollipop to there's like a line of new students going at this college. No one was really talking to each other. Everyone was pretty nervous. And he gave it to this one kid and was like, oh, turn around and give it to the person behind you and introduce yourself. And a few years later, he got an invite to their wedding. And it was just this really cool talk about like, I don't know, just the little things that you do that you might not ever realize or get any type of recognition or acknowledgement about. Could still have a really big influence on people.
He
And
was just being himself,
yeah.
like a funny guy, and this girl like didn't even want to go to the college, but then she ended up meeting like her husband, and she like came up to him like later in life and was like, you probably don't remember that, but like you changed my life. And
Oh, that's really cool.
yeah,
That's
and it's just
beautiful.
like you don't understand how like the small little things in life actually affect other people.
That's definitely cool. On a completely different note, one of my personal favorite TED Talks, I think it was at a TEDx Drexel.
Okay.
But I don't know if you've heard of the Sam Hyde 2070 paradigm shift, where, just for context, Sam Hyde is a comedian who frequently made sketches for, I believe, Adult Swim, but I think mostly I think he had a YouTube channel. But he was like an online comedian, and somehow he convinced the people who organized this TEDx event that he was this really important speaker. He traveled everywhere. He, had lots of, had missions to help the poor at all these different things. He shows up wearing like fake Roman armor from like a dollar store. And he sits on the steps. He climbs over the letters. It's just, I think it's about 17 minutes. And it's complete crazy nonsense. And then at the end, you see him sit down with the other speakers. And it's just the most ridiculous, crazy thing you'll ever see. Because everyone's expecting a real TED Talk. And he says, thank you guys for coming. Pat yourselves in the back. Yeah, no, everybody, he has to make sure everybody in the audience does it. It's that's a ridiculous one that always just makes me laugh when I'm having a bad day.
So how did he end up
I'm
revealing?
confused.
Is he?
That's one of the...
His whole TED Talk was a joke.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He just tried to say random things that made him sound like smart, and that he was giving a TED talk, but it wasn't really about anything.
So what's the purpose of it? Like.
No, there was.
It was
no,
like satirical.
Yeah, he was like doing it to be funny and to like try and be kind of smart when he really wasn't.
Snuck into the event.
Oh no, he didn't sneak into the event. They announced
totally
Sam Hyde, but with like random credentials.
So his talk wasn't like.
It wasn't anything. He was just rambling on about nothing.
Just like pushes someone aside, like
No,
I'm doing your talk.
Well, the where it was set up, there was the TEDx Drexel. I believe it was Drexel, so I might be wrong. But the TEDx Drexel, the letters that we had for Binghamton, and while he's speaking, he just casually climbs over the letters to sit on the staircase behind them. He just kind of is heavily breathing into the microphone. It's just it's really ridiculous and really fun, and just one of those TED Talks that doesn't get thrown out there that often.
I can see that.
I'm gonna have to watch that now.
But okay, in for real, one of my actual real TED Talks that I legitimately enjoy is, I don't know if you've seen the Daryl Davis. He's a jazz musician, and he gave a talk. The title of it, I forget the title because I watched it about a month ago or so. But he had this talk about how he befriended leaders of the Ku Klux Klan in Virginia and Maryland. Yes, it became famous. He starts the talk by bringing out the robe of the Klansmen that he eventually befriended. And it was just that was really inspiring for me. That was super inspiring to see this African-American guy just walk up to a leader of the Ku Klux Klan and say, let's have a conversation. He would come to his house just for over the course of years and years.
Where that was?
I don't think it was an organized event, or specifically organized by a university. I think it was a general TED talk without the X. I don't know where it is, but it will be in the link in the description of this video. So go ahead and check that out, dear audience.
When you said jazz musician, I thought you were going to talk about the guy who started playing a carrot as a clarinet. Did you see that one?
No.
This guy literally brought a carrot out, right? Or like multiple carrots. And he literally took a drill and drilled in the different holes in the carrot and like shaped the top of the carrot and then played it like a clarinet. And it sounded so beautiful. It sounded like actually amazing. It was the most beautiful thing ever.
Well, this guy played multiple carrots. I've seen people.
It's like SpongeBob, like playing his nose. Like.
I've seen a lot of instruments played. If you're on the internet long enough, you can see lots of. I've seen a sweet potato. I've seen someone did a cover of Africa by Toto on two sweet potatoes.
That's
It was the same concept. They took a knife and they drilled in and carved it out.
How do you get the vibration for that? Like a carrot, I get, but like a sweet potato is all like mushy inside.
No, it's tough if you don't cook it.
No, not a raw sweet potato.
Yes, a raw potato.
Oh yeah, a raw potato.
Yeah, no, if you cook it, it's mushy, but if it's raw, it's really solid. So I'll leave if I can find the vegetable instrument subreddit, I'll drop a link to that as well, if there's such a thing exists.
Alright. Vegetable instrument subreddit.
I've seen covers.
That's a whole subreddit.
Listen, there's subreddits for
There's subreddits for everything.
That's true.
Literally everything, everywhere, all the time, all of them. So
That's valid.
Could be anything. I mean, geez. So, do you guys want to talk a little bit more about more of the prep more recently? Some of the things more recently you guys have been doing. Like, how hard has it been to promote the event across campus?
We've been struggling a little bit. Our event last year was a little bit later. I think it was the 23rd.
I think it was the 20th. Yeah, 23rd, 25th, something like that.
And ours this year is the 3rd. So I think that we didn't make enough changes to our timeline to kind of anticipate that it was going to be sooner. And then with the weather and everything too, with the snow days and stuff, like the day that we were supposed to start tabling, I think we ended up having school canceled. So it's been a little bit trickier this year, but I also think that we've made some new strides with like Visions is one of our sponsors, and they're bringing in a lot of people from the outside community. So even if we've struggled a little bit with kind of like getting students to kind of gear up and get ready for the event, we're bringing a lot of people outside. So I feel like there's pros and cons either way with just trying to figure that out a little bit more.
Definitely really cool. So, do you guys want to talk a little bit about specifically the Instagram side of it? So, like it might sound like a dumb question, but marketing through Instagram is one of the biggest thing that any organization really can do. So, like, just for the sake of everyone who doesn't follow TEDx already, which you should, link in the description. There's a lot of. This is gonna be a long description. Let's talk more about. So, like, does one of you specifically run your Instagram account, or like how do you guys run that?
Basically, I run it and post stuff on it. It's like one of my, when you could drop it down, it's one of my like, main ones that I always go on. And I try to post on it every day and try to post stuff on the stories. Like the other day I had like a photo shoot with the ex because like I needed pictures to post. So like, and yeah, also like you can promote like certain pictures and like pay for that. So we have like in our budget like money put aside for promotional purposes with Instagram and Facebook. So like on Facebook, you can create an event and we promote that event, and it does reach a lot of people. So we're happy about that.
That's really cool. I mean, that Instagram way of the future.
There's a picture with Harvey.
Yeah.
Was Harvey?
Harvey at the X.
Yeah.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Making his way around already.
In the past, how many students did you guys have? Do you know
Come to the event?
Yeah.
We don't know the students specifically. We just know, right?
Yeah,
we
don't have numbers on specifically the students because some of that info kind of got lost or like with people buying tickets online. It was a little bit harder to check. We have between 800 and 900 typically for the past, I think, 2 or 3 years who came to the event, but I don't know like the students amount versus the community members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually it is mostly students.
And how many have you sold so far?
I don't think we know.
Yeah, there's...
Yeah, I know numbers can be kind of tough with that.
Yeah, numbers are tough.
There's still, I think because...
Numbers are tough.
In general, yes. There's still like, there are groups who are buying like packages of them that we're still trying to figure some stuff out with too. So I don't know the exact number right now, but hopefully a lot. And hopefully people will come. If you haven't bought a ticket yet, now's your chance.
100%.
Now's your
Link
chance.
in the description.
Now or never.
There you go. Very good. Just add.
The last
Just
week,
catching on.
That's okay.
Just catching on.
Also, subscribe to PewDiePie. While you're at it.
Bruh.
But anyway, yeah, Matt, any links you want to add to the description while you're at it?
We're on our Instagram, our Facebook, our website.
It's going to be a long description, folks. Alright, so moving on a little bit. So I think TED Talks are really awesome for the Binghamton community overall for a lot of reasons. What are some of the ways that you guys find that an event like this really is good for Binghamton and as well as other universities around the country as a whole? So what specifically is some of the things that TEDx really offers that not a lot of other events offer?
I think something that's unique about ours, there are some universities who have just students who have the opportunity to speak, some who have like strictly professors or people in the immediate area who do. And I think that ours is unique in a way where we have a student and we have an alum, but then we also have now 5 other people from around the world who we've invited this year. And I think it's a really great opportunity, especially for the undergrad student who gets to speak, to kind of have the chance to be on stage with people from all over. And I feel like in a sense it gets his name out there early. Jonathan's our student speaker this year. We're very excited.
Yes, why don't we go a little bit more into Jonathan?
Okay, so we actually, just this morning, he practiced his speech in the Osterhard Theater for the first time. And, there were 5 of us in the entire theater, like, sitting and watching. So it was pretty empty, but he did a fantastic job. And, I don't know, it's just cool to see another student like ourselves up there and doing something so great. And it was the same thing with Stone last year, where it's really cool to see people have the opportunity to do something like that. And I know that there's a ton of work and practice that goes into it. So it'll be nice to see it come to fruition on Sunday. But even just today, watching him practice was really cool.
Nice. How is the pool of undergrad students, and what are the different qualifications? How do you
to be able
look
to give a
for
TED Talk?
Mm-hmm.
So basically we have an application, and usually you should have some idea of what you would talk about, obviously. He went through the process.
Oh, you wanted to be the undergrad speaker?
Technically speaking, I'm the backup, just in case. But let's.
Host and speaker. Wow. Backup speaker.
Sub-speaker.
Backup speaker.
Backup speaker.
You basically need to have a good idea and you need to be able to present it well, just like any other speaker. Like, you know how like we have to go and like look at them speak, like they come in and they have to like give a description of what they would talk about, and it can't just be like some random idea. Like, I know like Jonathan is going to be talking about mental illness, and you know, it's just something like he could seriously talk about, and he is a really great speaker. It's not just anybody can't do it, but if you have a great idea and you really like to public speak and like talk about your ideas, I would definitely think about doing student speaker, because it's a great opportunity to like showcase your ideas and to have like a professional like video done of it, and like you did your own like little TED talk. It's really cool, especially for like an undergrad student.
So, speaking of that interview process, one of my favorite questions that was brought up was, this is a really fun one. If there was one song that was played when you enter a room, what would it be? And I'm really curious. I want to pass it off to you. I want to pass it off to you guys. Also, Yuhan.
I know exactly this song.
Okay.
Wait, I forget. Is it every time you walk into the room, or
every time you enter a room?
All the time. Oh,
every time you enter a room.
I don't know. It was like a
specifically.
consistent playing. I was like,
It's not
anytime I walk into the room.
Okay.
Anytime you enter a room.
What song would you want?
What song would you want playing?
Okay.
Doesn't matter playing the whole time you're in the room. It's just you got like an entrance song and it plays once.
Yeah. So I grew up in a town with a lot of Jewish people, so I attended a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
And in like that era, there was one song in particular that was huge, right? And everybody would look towards me. And that song was Gangnam Style.
I knew you would say that. I was like, I have a feeling of it.
Yeah, so they would always put me like on the bar or like on some like some platform and just tell me to dance. But the thing is, like, I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like if we revive that song, you know, I could definitely get all the words down again and all the dances. I knew the dance perfectly. And I actually did the dance with like another dude for like a little skit, and it was so much fun. And I would walk into a room with that, doing that dance, like this dance, any day.
Any room.
Any room.
All right, that's a song.
A tech talk stage. I do it.
No, it's got to be music video accurate. You got to have explosions everywhere. Just like.
I mean, if people want to pay for those explosions, go ahead. Fireworks aren't legal here, but you know, if we do it in Pennsylvania, I'm sure it's
100%. All right, you guys want to take a stab?
Take an idea.
I listen to a lot of like indie and alt music, and I feel like it's not a fun thing to walk into the room to, because it's I don't know, a bit more chill, and especially after hearing yours now, I'm like, I don't know.
Actually, not last.
I don't know. I could bring back like the Harlem Shake. Could do a similar vibe type of song. Something a little more exciting. Because that's I don't know. A lot of the music I listen to is like a little bit more mellow. If I had to have a theme song playing at all times, wherever I was walking, that'd be something that I'd want to choose. But if it was just
okay, then what would that be?
Yeah, put it mainstream. Don't make it indie anymore. Make it mainstream.
No, listen. It doesn't have to be mainstream. We'll put a link to the song.
No, I'm saying like her song, if she says it now, can become mainstream.
Oh, that's true. It could be. If it's an indie group, they could become mainstream.
Exactly. Give them the plug.
I don't know. It's alright. So playing at all times.
Oh, just a theme song.
Yeah.
I really like the song "Blood" by the Middle East.
Ooh,
That's
link in the
good.
description, folks.
Yeah.
Cue Blood by the Middle East.
Alexa, play Blood.
Alexa, play Blood by the Middle East.
For a hot second, I was like, oh, there's definitely an Alexa here right now that's gonna go off.
Someone's Alexa watching this is gonna just go off, and then it'll laugh in the background. Well, I know. I immediately had an answer for the walking in the room one. I never doubted it for a second. I've always been prepared. And it's All Star by Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be prepared.
That's during his interview, just for anyone in the audience. We had maybe 8 people that we ended up interviewing.
For when I went to become a director.
Yeah. And that's people would take a minute or two and think about it, and immediately as we ended this question, it was already like jumping out of his mouth. Like he knew
It was like, what song?
instantaneously.
Also,
I was ready.
Everyone else was like kind of sitting and thinking, like pondering over it, and his was immediate, which I appreciated.
My greatest pride in my TEDx application.
That's why you got backup speaker.
Whoa. The savagery. Okay. I see how it is, dude.
Hey, you're the host. Come on.
you run the show.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
run the
you
show, brother.
Without you, there would be no transition.
Okay, thanks. Got it. I know those transitions are really
And
where
the
it's
intro
at.
too. You've got a big part.
Okay, so we're definitely cool with the Heelys, though. That's like something I can.
I mean, if I could wear Heelys, I
I feel like at the end, all the directors should just like go
Here we
on
go.
Heelys and just go around the stage.
I would fall. I haven't done that in a while.
Just wear
would. I feel
Heelys
like
to
I could be
escape.
really good at it.
Wear Heelys to escape your
I'm
Heelys.
willing to skate.
Have you ever used TEDx?
Oh, the little hand skate.
I feel like
boots.
you'd be good at that.
No.
Why?
You need to be really. You need to be able to really just dexterous fingers. You need to be able to really.
TEDx?
People used to use them.
It was like a
all the time.
hand skateboard like this big.
Oh,
It was a little skateboard the size of your
yeah.
hand, and you could maneuver it and make it do like little tricks, but with your index and middle finger. And then there are people who could like do kick flips and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
what? No. I would actually tape my action figures to those little skateboards and like they could do like obstacle courses.
Four action
That's
figures.
awesome.
That was just a little thing. But listen, you get bored after a while with the same Goku action figure.
Backtracking real quick, how do you guys fit TEDx like into your lives currently? Because you guys are students as well,
Question.
you know. So how does this?
We don't.
Okay, that's also valid.
That's a valid answer.
Valid answer.
I don't know how you do it. She's always, literally, every time she's like, oh, I can't do that, I have a meeting. I have a meeting. She's like, how many meetings do you have a day? I
Can you
feel
just
like
name what you have
She
on your
has like
resume?
10 meetings a day. I'm like not even kidding when I say this.
I am the president of AKSI right now, and I also work for BSSL.
Alpha Kappa Psi.
Alpha Kappa Psi, professional business fraternity. Link in the description.
Please join.
I don't know. I mean, I just make it work because I made kind of like a promise to myself coming into college that I would only do things that I loved, no matter how they would look on the resume. Because I think in high school I was like very concerned with wanting to get a position in different clubs or doing different things to like apply for college. But now that I'm here, I'm like, well, I have no time but to do things that I enjoy. So I fit that in because I like it. And simple sentence.
Amazing.
I guess like the same reason. I guess I like TED Talks. I like the idea of TED and what our event stands for. So I just find time to fit it
Just here and there, you know.
in. Yeah.
Definitely picks up right before the event.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of meetings for that lately.
Yeah, no, this week, which right before the event, which is on Sunday, March 3rd, which you can get online at bingtickets.com.
Link in the description.
Link will be in the description. I know the event itself, just you got to be there at 8 a.m. You got to just really
You don't have to be there. We have to be there.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we, the people who are setting up the event, have to be. The actual event starts at 1.
Yeah, don't get there at 8, please.
Yeah, don't come at 8. But it starts at 8. It starts really early. You got to just get everything prepped and ready to go, and it's a lot of work. And like honestly, I just admire you. Like especially you, Emma, coming back for round 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just really impressive.
I mean, I guess it's fun. It's a good time. I feel
But
like
yeah.
in theory too, I should know a little bit more coming back into it. So
Uh-huh.
it makes it a little bit easier.
Or so that kind of takes a little bit of the edge off for you, like kind of knowing what the day of events are sort of like.
Yeah, but I don't know, especially going to it last year and seeing it for the first time. There was kind of like the awe, I guess, of seeing it for the first time, and I'm sure that's still going to be there this year, but a little bit less now that I've already kind of been there and know what it's like.
Right.
When you talk to your speakers and say, "Oh, we're from Binghamton University, Premier Ivy, Public Ivy,"
what that
Do they
means.
know Binghamton University? Like, are they like, oh, like I'd love to go to Binghamton. Like, what's the reaction that you get?
Well, when we first reach out to speakers, it's over email saying, like, we would like to invite you to this. So I feel like they probably looked us up, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
if I'm getting an email, like, coming to talk somewhere, like, they'll probably, like, look it up.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what their first reactions were.
That's
Right?
we've typically, if we've had speakers who are coming from an area that's more local, they'll mention the fact that they know the university or
Like, the
ask questions
alumni,
about
he
it.
obviously
Yeah,
knows
or like the
Binghamton.
friends or I've been there or whatever.
Yeah, but that's with a lot of the other speakers, if they're from California, Utah, wherever else, you don't get them talking too much about the university at that point because it's not as proximate, I guess, to them. But yeah, because they hear about it over email too, they might and just maybe don't say anything.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Just to get some final thoughts, because we are, it's come to that time. Just what are some final thoughts if a student asks you, why should I, so say I'm a random student and I come up to you guys at a tabling or something and I say, why should I come to TEDx? What does it offer for me as a random student?
Well, I would definitely say if you like TED Talks and like you find them inspiring, and even if you've seen them like just in your classes, if you don't look at them in your own time, it's definitely an experience to like come and like sit down and see it live. And then after the event, you can actually meet the speaker and talk to them, which you really can't get just on the internet watching a TED video. So I feel like being there and then being able to like ask questions or like just that kind of aspect of it is so different. That's why I would say come to it, because you really can't get that experience unless you go to like a TED convention, which aren't like
Very
held
expensive.
at your school.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's people don't oftentimes give themselves the opportunity to listen to things that they don't agree with. And when you have to listen to all 7, or if you choose to listen to all 7, there might be something that you initially don't like or don't agree with, but giving yourself the chance to kind of sit through it and listen to it and be open-minded enough to change your opinion, if you feel like you want to after they speak, I feel like that's a really good opportunity for people to have.
All right. Awesome. Totally agree. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Thank you guys.
Really appreciate it. Catch more from me, Yuhan, and our other friend Hunter on further episodes of Podcast the Show coming soon to BTV. You can see Emma and Maddie at on the Binghamton TEDx event on Sunday, March 3rd from 1 to 4. You can get tickets in the description. And, yep, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back soon.